All right. That was a game. Tennessee wins 34-27 in overtime. They beat the Pittsburgh Panthers. Huge win over a ranked team, but not so fast because it wasn't that easy. This score is not indicative of what really happened. And I'm Charlie Burris. That's Jonathan Crompton, former Vols quarterback, and we're going to talk about what exactly happened. I told Cromp before we got on here, I'll be the bad cop to his good cop, and that's all right. But first, before we get into it, I got to thank our amazing sponsors, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans is a corporate sponsor of the Vols. They've been serving Tennesseans for 75 years. Plan on us for health, dental, and vision at fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and type in keyword Vols in the search bar to fill your freezer with enough gourmet food to keep your cookouts going strong into the fall. And then Rattle and Snap whiskey from Log Still Distillery. Make your own luck like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense, which could have been a little more. It could have had a little more rattle and a little more snap in that second half, Crop. But just like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense, with Rattle and Snap, Tennessee whiskey. Okay. Tennessee 34, Pittsburgh 37. In my personal opinion, it should have been Tennessee 55, Pittsburgh 20. But
guess what?
Win's a win, baby.
Guess what? You ready? Comment of the night already.
All right.
Ashton Kate. Whew, I'll take it. Learn how to win. Dude, it doesn't matter if you win 1-0.
That's
a win's
true.
a freaking win, right? And here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and lead in with this because I know people are going to, let's call it like it is. We all want to win 100-0. That's football, right? All right. Real quick. I got to scroll through. Georgia only put up 30 on Samford. Okay. All right. Then you got Marshall beating Notre Dame. Okay. Clemson only put up 35 on Furman.
Ugh.
Alabama had to have a under 1 minute drive to kick a field goal to beat unranked Texas. App State beats Texas A&M. It's not that bad. A win is a win. We're against a top 20 team. Right? Could the offense look better? Yeah, man, that's football. But the reality is we put up more points against a top 20 team than Georgia, the number 2 team in the country, did against an FCS school. See what I'm saying? We beat a top 20 team, and Notre Dame, the top 10 team, lost to a group of 5 school. Texas A&M, a top 10 team, lost and put up 2 touchdowns against a group of 5 school. So the bottom line is nothing is ever as good as it seems. Nothing is ever as bad as it seems. I'm always going to be critical, especially of quarterback play, because I can't help that. But the reality is, when we had to make the play, did we make it? Did the defense bail us out tonight? 1,000%.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Shout out to Tim Banks.
Guess what? So y'all can see me. How many phases to football are there? Offense, defense, special teams. I did that on purpose. All right. But you see what I'm getting at? Defense is a part of the game too.
All right.
So our defense played their guts out in the second half, and we did what we had to do.
Man, it's so tough to have a balanced perspective being a Tennessee fan when you've been beaten over the head for all these years with games that look exactly like that one did, except they end with a loss. That's the difference. It's been, we all know this endless stream of games where you go, how did we grab defeat from the jaws of victory? Like, how did that even happen? And this is exactly what felt like was going to happen again tonight. But man, let's
ran for 154.
Yeah, and that's all they could do in the second half with Patty.
Hey, call it like it is. Their running back, Abanikanda, is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Oh,
right? Dude can play some football. Like, I'm not going to sit here and take that away from him.
The backup QB played just. The guy should be lauded. It was an incredibly tough performance. I think you have an exponentially tougher time with Keaton Slovis in the game. Keaton Slovis on 2 feet, but what it coulda, shoulda, you probably win the Pitt game last year if Hooker plays the entire game. So, we can play that game all day long. Doesn't really matter. But the things that concern me in this game, and I think they're great talking points, and I'm sure it's what Heupel's going to hit on this entire week. That game was so sloppy, particularly that second half was just a comedy of errors. Because, I think you are talking more likely than not. Trayvon Flowers does not muff that punt. It's a walk-away win. You probably win by 10. You win by 14. It's really not too stressful. But it was even more stressful than it should have been up to that point. But how much do you knock them for that? It's really more the coach's job to do that. I'm sure I hope that Heupel, is on them about it. But the sloppiness scares me, though, because is that not, Crump, some indictment of the coaching? I lay that on like Alabama today. That was the sloppiest game I've seen Alabama football play in maybe ever in the Saban tenure. And does that not like fall on him in some sense? Even though
there's a lot of stuff. You got to understand, dude. Football is the easiest way to describe it is it's the ultimate team game. If 11 dudes don't, or if you're not in sync, everybody looks dumb, right? That's the bottom line. If your right guard runs outside zone left and we're going right, everybody looks dumb. If we muff a punt, all our 10 guys could have had the wall set up to the field perfectly, but we muffed a punt, everybody looks dumb. Like that's football. That's what makes this game so special, right? And I didn't see him last week, but Big Ten Jeff, I love that he comments. I love it. Right.
Every week.
But he's going on here and I see him talk about, well, you did survive. Well, Ohio State survived last week against Notre Dame, who lost to Marshall this week.
Yeah.
That's football. A win is a win is a win. It does not matter. You go back, you correct the mistakes, you look at the tape, you learn from it, but you'd rather learn from it with a win than learn from it with a loss. Like we do not want to be Notre Dame right now. Let's just call it like it is. We do not want to be going where they played at home, but going back to Knoxville with our tail between our legs going, oh, God almighty. Now we're going, hey, we found a way to win. Now we've got a kind of a, I'm not going to say a cleanup game before we start SEC play, but almost a cleanup game before we start SEC play. And we will be SEC play 3-0. Like that's what you take away from this game.
You can't take away the fact that no matter how this game went, a victory tonight is already an improvement over last season. You have that immediately. You have that in game 2. You can say, hey, we've made that improvement over last season. Yeah, you can say Pitt isn't as good as last year, whatever. But you're 2-0 instead of 1-1. And that is the bottom line. But you still to critique everything here, and that's really our job here. There's a ton to clean up. The DB still really rough. If Warren Burrell makes a better play on the ball, we're not having a conversation about OT ever happening. Some things like that. Hendon Hooker just way off in that second half. No flow to that offense at all. They could not get it going. And I'll ask that. How do you assess that? How do you assess that they just couldn't get it going? It's Heupel's specialty.
But that's what we talked about at halftime. Feast or famine.
It is.
Right? If and that's dude, it's not just us. There are a lot of teams that way. Big Ten Jeff, Ohio State. It's the same thing. It's either big play to I don't want to mess his name up because I cannot pronounce it correctly. Number 11, who is a baller out wide. That dude is a freak.
Yeah. Right.
It's feast or famine. Like you still go, oh, well, we get drives. Yeah. But when you average 70 plays a game, it's not because you have 10 play drives. It's because you have 10 3 and 4 play drives back to back to back to back to back. See what I'm saying? Like it's not so that's kind of what we are. I don't mind it, but it's one of those that there was a lot of people very critical of it last year. Well, our defense is on field too much. Dude, that's what you're going to get when you come to Tennessee as a defensive player. Just get ready for it.
Yeah.
You know that coming in as a defensive recruit, you're going to play typically a crap load of plays. And that's fine. You want to play. That's why you come, right? You're going to be gassed, but they're going to make sure you're in shape in the offseason. They're going to make sure you're in shape during, spring practice and camp and all that stuff to be ready for that. that's what I was said at halftime. I just wish we would get a drive going. My biggest critical issue tonight is, even though we quote unquote ran the ball 35 times, Hendon Hooker had 15 of those. That now,
really
obviously, scrambles obviously count, blah, blah, blah. But that would be my biggest thing, is we ran for under 100 yards, when I truly think if we established a run and rush for 120 to 130 a game, we're really hard to beat. Like, that's kind of our sweet spot. Obviously, more than that's just icing on the cake. But only rushing for 91 at an average of 2.6 yards, that's my critical issue. But that's because Pitt had a good game plan. They said, man, we're going to make you beat us throwing because we're going to stack the box.
Mm-hmm.
So we throw for 325 and 7.7 yards of completion.
I mean, Brent Madlock kind of summed up my thought, and this is as glass half full as I can get right here. Tennessee played really bad in that second half and lost 2 fumbles. Still won this football game.
And that's what I'm saying. That's a great comment, because that's my mindset. Is like, dude, it's you rather have these mistakes and win. And I go back to like Ohio State and Notre Dame. Obviously, Notre Dame's not as good as everybody thought they were now as a team, but it's defective. Dude, at the beginning of the game, I was texting my buddy going, dude, Notre Dame's got their number. Right? Notre Dame's tight end is a freak. They might pull this off. And then you see Ohio State just not lose their cool, stay in the moment. And what did you see? Like, I don't know if anybody watched, but if you go back and watch the game, you see Hendon on the sideline. He's smiling. He's hugging his guys because we didn't lose our cool. That is indicative of how they're coached. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, to me, is more of a sign of who we are as a team, rather than, oh, well, we were sloppy and we made mistakes. Is that on the coaching? To me, it's more, we didn't lose our cool. Alabama didn't lose their cool. They didn't. They played like actually dog poop. But they didn't lose their,
so bad.
But guess what?
Yeah.
They've been there before, right? They didn't lose their cool. Now, we hadn't been there in a while, but you can tell we have that mentality of, this doesn't phase us. And I tell my team all the time, we've built you for this from the ground up. We've built you for these moments to stay in the moment, understand what we're doing. And you could tell that's what our guys did tonight. You're always going to find stuff to correct, 1,000%. My biggest thing is, I think we need to rush for 120 plus with what we have in the backfield with 3 guys that can play.
And the biggest thing out of this victory is that it was that close, and Tennessee still covered. Let's not forget, for all the bettors out there, the line was 6.5 going into this one.
Is it not weird how
you win by 7?
They're correct.
They know. Las Vegas knows. They always know.
Does Vegas have time machines? Like, are they screwing with us? Because it sure seems like it.
They really must be. Well, this game was extremely interesting. Let's just start there. I like, it can never just be easy with Tennessee, can it? And on that note, here's to everybody that's watching. We got almost 200 people watching right now. Shout out to each and every one of you. Thanks to everybody who's commenting, weighing in. This is an amazing crowd. Thanks for watching. But drop into the comments, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you may be watching. Give us one word to describe how you're feeling after that win. 34-27. Tennessee walks away with a road win over the number 17 team in America, but it was a little ugly. So how are you feeling? One word, just one word for how you're feeling about that win. And me and Crump will give our single word right after we tell you about our segment sponsor, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans have been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. Much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ. And let me get this graphic up right there. There it is. Farm Bureau Health Plans. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ, or walk into one of their 200 plus locations across the state. fbhp.com/ATOZ. That is Farm Bureau Health Plans. Shout out to them. One word to describe the Vols. Let's see what we've got. Ashton Kate says relieved. Sean Walker says progress. Gilead, Tennessee says hungry. Andrew Fisher, relief. Chad Morlock, proud. Jeff Rubel, who is an Ohio State fan, says concerning. Mark Jones says hopeful.
Big Ten Jeff's always going to do that.
He's always weighing in. Reginald Pete says growth. Thank you to everybody who's commenting. Billy Jones, good. Hunter Aaron, PTSD. I feel that one deep in my bones. I feel that one. It's hard not to feel that, but that's everybody's one word brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. I'll throw it to you, Crump. One word.
Ice.
Ooh, nice.
Like ice in their veins, man. Nothing, you can tell nothing phases us that much. And I like that. I mean, go back and look at the last half of last year, leading into this year. Not much when stuff gets crazy, phases. But like that is the first word that came to my mind. It was just I wanted to say like cool, calm and collected, but like ice in our veins just kind of put it good, especially at the last, man. What is it? Third and goal from the 10 or whatever. And we bring a freaking corner blitz. Ballsy. Love it. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like they're trusting the guy inside of them on defense to make the play, and the guys on offense are trusting the guy on the outside to make the play when they need to be made.
Eric Cornelson says better. Nick Martinez, guts. Ed, survive. Sean, help. Yard says nauseous. Caleb says sloppy. And I'm going to say revenge. I don't think anybody said that. Maybe
I love the voice.
Revenge. That's my one word. Tennessee, you got back what you lost last year. Revenge is a dish best served by a 34-27 win in overtime. At the end of the day, I don't care how you get it. Just get those wins. The 1998 national championship team woulda, coulda, shoulda lost to Arkansas. But the stumble and the fumble by Clint Sterner led to a touchdown for Tennessee, and you win the national championship. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't care how you do it at the end of the day. Just do it. Now, I can obviously, in analyzing this game, I can say plenty to improve upon, and here's what it is. And obviously, we've been hitting that so far. But just revenge. I'm just happy. I'm happy that they got that at the end of the day, even with how disturbed I am by those mistakes in the second half, the fact that the offense only produced 3 points in that second half. I'm just glad that you got this win. You beat number 17 on the road. Pitt is who we thought they were.
I swear I was thinking that quote earlier too. But watch this. 5:23 left in the second quarter. Oklahoma's down 3-0 to Kent State. It's never as good or as bad as it seems. You see what I'm getting at?
That's happening.
About perspective. And to go to Big Ten Jeff, he's like, oh, it can go both ways. Pitt didn't play well either. Dude, Ohio State was down 10 to 7 at halftime to a now 0-2 lose to Marshall Notre Dame.
Football's a funny game.
So Ohio State isn't as good as everybody thought they were right now because they played Arkansas State today. Whoop-de-freaking do. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just football. That stuff's going to happen. So today, let's see. Oh, they put up 45 points against Arkansas State. How is their credit due there?
Let's not forget.
Like this, I guess what I'm getting at is don't use the argument of like, I'm only going to give credit when it's due and it's not due. Every team at this moment in football in week 2 is still getting the kinks out. And it's just better to be 2-0 than 1-1 or 0-2.
And we should never forget Arkansas State, coached by the living demon himself, a terrible, terrible person, Butch Jones. Quickly. Butch Jones is the
head coach. That took a sharp left turn there.
Cannot tell you how much I dislike that guy. Yes, it is personal. It's not just business.
Jeff, Jeff, I'm just going to tell you, one, I don't give a damn about Ohio State. I just know football. It's pretty simple. So it doesn't matter about the school to me. I just know football. Okay. So I'm with you, and I like Jeff. But the reality is, when you put things into perspective, you can't say I only give credit where it's due when it's not due. Like that has zero relevance in this moment.
I don't know exactly where to go from here because I don't want to. It feels wrong to just complain about stuff when you walk away with a victory, and it's a victory that we should all be super excited about. Exactly. And I don't know what the score of like Kentucky, Florida is. I certainly get the feeling that Florida is not like that win over Utah did not make me look and go like, oh my gosh, they're on the path to the playoff this year. It made me go like, oh, Anthony Richardson's a pretty competent quarterback. Their defense is pretty shaky. And they're going to win some games because of Anthony Richardson, and on games when he's off, they're probably going to lose because that defense is not.
I've been hearing people, I've been seeing people in the comments say that he's not playing. I haven't watched any of the game.
Kentucky's up 7-3 according to the comments.
Oh, with the first round quarterback, Will Levis, yeah. Actually, I think he's not. He is 9-10 for 143. I mean,
well, there you go. Maybe he's playing his way into the NFL right there.
Richardson's 4 of 13, 78.
He's not the Heisman winner that I was led to believe.
I didn't see that low of a percentage at this point in the game in the second quarter with him. Now, I didn't see them throwing the ball 13 times this early in the second, but
everybody is saying Richardson is playing terrible, which makes
obviously I haven't watched it. I'll probably watch it because it's either that or USC Stanford, and I don't care for USC or Stanford. So,
and Kentucky is playing without their top running back too, which I think is probably a factor. Maybe why they haven't scored more, although Heisman candidate Will Levis, really
can we talk about how ugly Kentucky's like checkerboard on their shoulders are? Come on, Kentucky, do better than that. Do better.
Awful.
Just stop it. Like you could do so many things with that uniform and the colors, and that's what we chose. No,
they deserve to get beat down from that alone.
Like no,
but we'll have a chance to get that revenge later on in the year. But I just know that I think the thing that most people probably want to hear about here, and I think the take that I want to hear from you, Cromp, before we move on to the rattle and snap stat of the game, talk about Hooker. In this game, starts off really shaky, has a great close to the first half, and then is just real off in that second half. How do you, as the former quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers, how do you assess that? And how, if you were him, how do you walk away feeling?
Well, one, you walk away feeling that he threw for 65%, 325 and 2 touchdowns. Should have had 4, but they were down on the half-yard line. So you feel pretty damn good about it overall. Keyword overall. But goes back to we play so fast that we don't have to run a lot of concepts, right? As far as like if you watch our routes it's called a fallout route, but it's a 12 to 12-yard stop, comes back to 10, but it's called a fallout route. 5-yard outs, goes, posts, and digs, and that's about it, right? Not a whole outside of our what I call a smoke route. It's a 1-yard stop. Outside of that stuff. So we don't run a whole lot of concepts. It's just like individual routes, which is a good and it's a positive and a negative. Positive, you play fast, you know where they're going, and you throw it. The negative is they start learning what you're doing pretty quick. But so that's where we have to be efficient, right? So it's just one of those that, like I keep going back to, feast or famine. We throw a go route. If Tillman catches that early in the third quarter, everybody's going, ooh, okay. All right, here we go. Right? Don't catch it. Things happen. That's football. You can tell it almost like he didn't see it coming, right? That's just football. So when that happens, and then you get, what's called behind the chains. So now when it's 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 10, those are harder play calls than 2nd and 5, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. So that's kind of where the statistics do get a little less positive for us. But once again, 65%, 325, 2 touchdowns, right? You see what I'm saying? Like overall, it was a very productive game when you look at the stats. It's just we all look and go, dude, we could have, shoulda, coulda, woulda, we could have hung up 50 on them. But we didn't, and that's fine. We won.
I almost walk away more, I don't want to say indicting, because it's not, we won. You won the football game. But Josh Heupel's offensive style, this was the perfect. We've been touching on it. This is the perfect example of the feast or famine, like you've been saying.
Yeah.
This is it laid out right in front of you perfectly. Now, in this game, you win. You walk away a victor because their quarterback gets hurt, because you play good defense in that second half. Play good defense at the end of the first half also, when that quarterback was still in the game. And, you know, that's it. It really is just right there for you, where when this thing is buzzing, you're putting up 50 points in a game, and when it's not, you're scoring 3 points in the second half. It's scary. It's a scary prospect with SEC play on the horizon, but you gotta just hope that
go back to the stats of the day and look around the country and look around just the SEC. By the way, it was earlier. Western Carolina University was hanging in there, or I guess and might still be hanging in there with Georgia Tech. Okay, like so that's what I'm getting at. Like, man, that doesn't matter where you are, what you're ranked, you still got to play the freaking game, right? Look at App State. What was it, 07 against Michigan, right? You still got to play the game. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like I'm trying to add this stuff up while we're doing this. What did we score last week? We went
59, 59. Right? Was our finals? I think so. If I'm thinking correctly,
we're still averaging 47 points a game. Because you take it by the average at the end of the year, you only go by the 2 games we played. So that's what I'm getting at. Is like we talked about in our group text, and I was like, man, this offense over the whole year, wins, losses, everything. By the end of the year, we have a legit chance to average 40 to 45 points a game. You average 45 points a game, you're winning a lot of ball games. Like, you're winning a lot of ball games. Yeah. And used to, this is no lie. When I was in college and I was in high school and college, like right in the, early 2000s, mid 2000s, teams strive to average 28 points a game. Kid would strive because it's different now, right? Dude, we're averaging mid 40s a game now. That's almost double what teams used to average back then. We're playing pretty well, right? A win's a win, and it was against a top 20 team. And that team, they're going to win some ball games. Like, they're going to win some ball games. I don't know if to win the ACC, but Pitt's going to win some games this year.
That's losing Slovis is tough, and I think it is. I think that's going to be a probably broken collarbone, something decently serious. It's going to take a few weeks to get back from. But I completely agree. You just beat a good team. You beat a team that in the preseason is ranked number 17. Take that with a grain of salt, but I think you still consider them a top 25 team that you went on the road into a hostile environment. Tennessee fans certainly showed up, but it was still, you could hear it on the telecast. There were more Pitt fans there than there were Tennessee fans. And
honestly, I was surprised. I didn't think it would be as big of a turnout as there was, just because of last week and it's a non-conference game, all that stuff. They actually came out and surprised the crap out of me, truly.
They've really, especially that student section, they were live, man. They really brought it more. I agree, more than I thought than they would. So credit to them. This is a good question right here, and then we'll get to the stat of the game. Eric Cornelison says, where do you think we'll be ranked after tonight? You're 24th right now in the AP Top 25. I gotta imagine you go up to 19, maybe something like that.
All right, so watch this. Here's your question, because I was thinking about this myself, and I turned it over to the game just to see. So Kentucky is beating Florida right now, but wasn't Florida unranked last week?
Yeah, they went all the way up to 12th in that.
Now I know that Utah was ranked number 7 at the time, blah blah blah, but it was still a ranked team versus unranked team, and you jump at minimum 13 spots. Like, I'm not saying we jump in the top 10. That's not what I'm getting at. But I think it's deserving, and I think Wake Forest needs to jump. Right?
They smacked Vandy today.
They were at 23. We were at 24. I think both of us truly deserve to be like 15, 16, somewhere in there. Is my guess is where both teams should be ranked. And I only say that because I saw some Vandy people commenting like, "Oh, you're always behind." Well, you just got this knocked out of you today by Wake Forest. Right.
Vandy should say nothing. Everybody who's a Vandy fan needs to just sit this one.
Yeah, just throw that out there.
Tennessee went on the road.
And Wake Forest is good, but it's just funny. It's like Wake came in and just beat the piss out of you.
Yeah, Tennessee went on the road, got a top 25 win.
Yeah.
Wake Forest came in and smacked y'all around like a rag doll. So
yes,
just sit that one out.
Let's go Vandy.
Now let's get to the rattle and snap stat of the game, and I'll tell you about rattle and snap. Here's the deal. It is a new Tennessee whiskey from Log Still Distillery, named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. It is releasing this month around the state of Tennessee. Let me get I had the list of distribution states. It's going to be in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Mississippi. There is a 4-year Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey and an 8-year Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. Go grab them both, because here's the thing. Fall is coming up. You're going to be getting those bonfires in the backyard. You're going to be putting your feet up, going to be watching Tennessee football. And maybe this year we'll be able to drink whiskey in celebration instead of woe and sorrow. And you can get you a bottle of 8-year Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey, and you can drink it in celebration with that cigar after the Alabama game.
You would say that.
I
love it. I wasn't expecting it, but I should have known.
Nothing accompanies a big win over Alabama like a glass of Rattle and Snap whiskey. I mean, I genuinely, it is what I would do after beating Alabama. But the beating Alabama is going to be the tough part of that.
No comment, I guess. I don't know.
but go and follow them on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey, and look out for it in your local stores. Again, the states of distribution were Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Mississippi. For Rattle and Snap Tennessee straight whiskey, go check it out. And here I'll leave there it is. That's what it's going to look like when you see it on shelves right there. Rattle and Snap, make your own luck. Now, the stat of the game. Do you have one set, Cromp? If you don't, I know where I'm going.
I do, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I also have a weigh-in from Austin Stanley too that I'll drop in here, owner of A to Z Sports. But
mine's probably not what you think.
Okay. So I just went here. Sack Trey Flowers, sack Byron Young, sack Tyler Barron, sack Wesley Walker, and Wesley Walker, a huge 4th down sack. And that's 4 total after last week against Ball State. Everyone fretting, we didn't sack. There was no sacks, no defense. The defensive line didn't get any pressure. I was in that group. Granted, I was in that same group of being like, excuse me, where was the pressure on the defensive line? They came through. 4 sacks in this game. It made a giant difference. And I was just very, very happy to see it. I like that. Really was a relief, and it makes me feel better about going forward, especially if your DBs aren't going to be playing that well. At least you can at least expect to some extent better play on the defensive line. And Crump, I'll go to you, and then I'll read off what Austin sent us.
Well, I got my first I don't like you Crump this year, so I'm kind of surprised it took till week 2, but it's okay. We're good.
Boo. Boo on those people.
Honestly, I laugh about it. I think it was because of the Vandy comments, but it's okay.
Yeah. Then we definitely don't care.
Yeah. My stat is 2-0. 2-0.
Counts for a lot right now.
That's the way I look at it, is like, and I guarantee you what he's telling tonight, enjoy it tonight. It's done. We're 2-0. It's over. Right? We'll watch the film. Be done with it. Like, honestly, if they're anything like what a lot of teams do, is they'll go back and watch the film tomorrow morning or like early afternoon, and it is completely from their minds now. That's why, like, to me, the stat is 2-0. 2-0 on to next week. Take care of business. Start SEC play 3-0. And at that point, probably a top 15 team.
Yeah, or close to it. If not,
yeah. I mean, it just depends. Obviously, it depends on what happens next week. But let's call it this: we should win next week. So I'm just saying, like, depends on who wins, who gets upset, all this stuff. If anything happens, then we should be a top 15. I'm like I said, I think we should be like 15, 16, us and Wake. But the reality is it probably won't be. It'll probably be more like 18-ish, 19, maybe a 20. And then after next week, probably bump up to maybe like 16, which is fine. We're in the top 16 playing Florida 3-0. I like that environment.
I wish I could find that. This would be a stat to improve on the amount of dropped balls in this game, specifically with Cedric Tillman. Get that cleaned up. That's gotta that certainly contributed to the offense not getting a lot of flows. Some dropped passes. That was one. I searched all through here. I couldn't find it, but
at one point he was targeted 10 times and had 6 receptions. He ended the game with 9 receptions, but I don't know the amount of targets. I don't know. And Jeff, you are right. It is useless in the AP poll. Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many targets he got.
Tillman was targeted 18 times.
So he's 9 for 18. That's not for him. That's not a high percentage.
Yeah, that's not going to do for out of your A guy.
But he was also 9 for 162. So
and they were really important. I do think like McCoy probably had the most important first down pickup of the entire game. Kind of saved your butt when things were sort of stalling out.
Well, staying in bounds. That's so much harder than anybody thinks. Like how he did that, the step back to stay in bounds. Gutsy, first off, ballsy move to do it, because if he takes you down, you lose 2.5 more yards. Like ballsy move, but the athleticism to stay in bounds and get up the sideline and get the first down. I guess I would say bonehead play of the day though would be Fant because you brought up McCoy. It reminded me. Great play call. Everybody, we know it's a pick.
Yeah,
we know it's a pick play. Just act like you're in Hollywood.
I know.
Like just get in his way, try to act like you're running a corner route or something, kind of lean, because great route by McCoy, great ball, and great job finishing, getting the first down. And then now, next thing you know, it's 3rd and 31.
And you had a brutal holding call on the left tackle. What's his?
Going overtime?
No. No, it was. One? Yeah, it was an overtime. It was the second play overtime.
The QB sweep.
Yeah, it's the guy from Florida, the transfer from Florida. Why am I drawing a blank right now? That's annoying. I hate when I do that. That was tough. Some
Mincy,
things like
there
that.
We go. Tyler Savis, Mincy.
Gerald Mincy. Dang it. It's easier said than done when you're on a live stream in front of hundreds of people. But then I'll drop in this is from Austin Stanley, owner of A to Z Sports. Our great boss here. He said his stat for the Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey stat of the game. Jalen Hyatt had a career high 11 catches and career high 73 yards that took Tennessee to the win over Pitt. That is massive. And he had 13 targets and 11 catches. I mean, it felt like for some portions of that game, they were just going to him.
Think about it, though.
Huge.
Notice his catches tonight. And this is where I go back to, this is our saving grace and this is our downfall offensively. I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm gonna lean to guess probably at least 75% of those completions were under 5 yards on 5-yard outs, or what I call a smoke route. It's a one step stop, turn your body to the quarterback. And to get 73 yards off of those types of routes is impressive, is what I'm trying to get at. Because it's not like you're catching it 12, 14 yards downfield. Tonight, he was catching it. Last week, he was catching it at 14. Tonight, he's catching it at under 5. And to get those yards, that is a credit to him to be able to get those yards after catch.
What I'm really hoping before the Florida game is that the crowd in this game was a big factor, the road game, and it being early in the season. Get another sort of snoozer game under your belt, clean it up even more, and then in that home environment, play a clean game against Florida. Because you look at the way that this team played tonight, you play a clean game, you win this game by 30 probably. I mean, I think minimum 3 touchdowns. With a clean game.
The worst part about football is it's very hard to play a clean game.
It is.
I mean, I'm just calling that is not an excuse. That is just the pure fact of it. I try to tell the kids that I coach all the time, like, they're allowed to game plan too. The beauty of football and the fun part for me is like the chess match of like, what would I do against me? Right? Mm-hmm. Trying to predict what they would do. That's why it's so hard to play such a clean game, because every team, offense, defense, and special teams, is going to have wrinkles of the week. And trying to learn to adjust on the run during the game is what makes the, decent teams good teams great, great teams champions. Right? That's what's made Nick Saban. He's able to adjust in the middle of the game and figure out what you've done and how to beat it within your system. And I think we're on that track, right? We're in year 2 and we're averaging in the mid 40s in points and we're 2-0. Kind of like where we're at, right? And I'm looking at Florida's schedule. So they got USF next week, right? So neither team has like a crazy hard game leading into Tennessee, Florida. So hopefully, for my sake, because I don't stay up late, hopefully it's an earlier game. But for the crowd noise sake, hopefully it gives, hopefully we're 7 o'clock, give all the Tennessee faithful time to partake and get a little loud, if read between the lines.
I want that game.
That is going to be, I don't care what anybody says. When you come into Neyland and we're playing well, out of all the teams that I've played with or against and teammates I've played with, literally guys are like, dude, going to Neyland sucks. Like when it's third down when we're on defense, like you can't hear anything. Like, and I remember in recruiting, you can look up against certain teams, Georgia, Florida, Bama, right? And you can physically see the top of the stadium swaying because it gets so crazy. So hopefully next week, tune-up game, hopefully get guys out early, right, to rest them. I would hope so.
Please.
And then get ready to get freaking wild and crazy against Florida.
I saw some – I don't know if this is actually true, so don't quote me on this. Probably means I shouldn't say it on here, but
dude, you know what? Random stuff anyway. Who cares?
But I saw somebody on Twitter saying, I don't remember who it is, so sorry. Maybe they're watching. I don't know. They said that Tennessee hasn't lost a game with Schulman calling it, who was calling the game tonight, if I'm thinking right, since like the late 90s.
Really?
He was who was calling the game when we beat Florida in 98. And so maybe let's get a night game with him on the call. We got to get all the stars aligned. If that is actually correct. Like I said, I didn't verify that. But
Kentucky just screwed themselves. Sorry.
I see it's 14-7 now.
No, it's 16 now.
Oh boy.
They always snap over the punter.
Kentucky. Sorry. Well, but I just want to have everything. Neyland is going to be so loud next week. Dude, it's going to be absolutely wild. I'm so hyped. Pat Rose says right here, you're going to be in the Smoky Grays for that game. Those are going to be back. Just good juju all around. Like it's all leading up. Both teams playing well, going to have nice wins. But I'll say this, and this is going to be the last thing that we can talk about. Honestly, we're coming up on 45 minutes here. Akron next week, it's going to be a win. I don't think we really need to spend too much time breaking that down. Although me and Zach on the Big Orange podcast this coming Monday, 4 p.m. on Monday, we'll be live streaming. Me and Zach Reagan on Monday afternoon. We'll go into the Akron game a little bit more. So stay tuned for that on the A to Z YouTube, Facebook, just like this. But if Florida continues on, they beat Kentucky by 10 tonight. How are you feeling about that game in Neyland? Gonna be rocking, gonna be wild. You just beat Pitt by 7. They beat Kentucky by 10 and squeak one out against Utah. What is your feeling at the moment on that game?
Well, I mean, obviously I gave y'all my prediction last week. So I mean,
but we're gonna but that'll be a week to week thing because next week we're gonna assess.
You know what? I'm gonna go down, and I'm either gonna go down a genius or go down to just an absolute DA. You know what I'm saying? Like but in the fact of like because I believe in our players and our staff truly. Like, and I don't say that just as the ex-player. Like, obviously, y'all can tell me now. I'm just if I don't like it, I'm gonna say it's stupid. It's just the reality, right? But I truly believe in what they're starting to build with the trust and the players and the staff and the community starting to get kind of a little more excited about it. We're always excited about Tennessee football, but it almost seems like there's a different, it's like a different smell in the air in Knoxville now. You know what I mean? It's football season. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, now we're really excited. We've always been excited. There's a little extra something. You know what I mean? And I have full confidence in us being able to outscore teams. Like, I truly do. If we got to put up 40, I truly think we can put 40 up on whoever we need to. Right? I'm not going to say they're not going to score 41. I don't know. But
well, and you showed tonight you could win without 40.
Pressure on this dude. But think about it. And this is me. If I'm game planning against Florida, from the little bit I saw last week and a little bit that I've kind of just glanced over the TV, I'm going to run straight up man-to-man, metaphorical middle fingers to the world and go, screw you. I'll have a spy, and I'm going to bring outside contained blitz every play. I'm going feast or famine on defense and say, if you beat me, you're going to have to beat me because you've made the throw so quick. Now I've got my guys a man-to-man at 8 yards. You're only going to get 4. But now my guys out wide have to make a tackle. You're one-on-one. This is one-on-one drill and practice. Make the tackle because I'm banking on making more plays than you, and I need to steal 2 possessions. If we do that and we actually get 2 stolen possessions and don't give up any ourselves, then we have a legit chance to score 40 to 45 points and win that ball game. Like, that's just how my mind works. Is Kentucky's defense is not better than us. I'll just say that, right? They're just not. And they've scored 16 right now. If they score 16 and 16 against us 32, I think we'll win that ball game because I think we can go 24-24.
I do too. I absolutely do. So we'll see. I feel pretty good as of now, especially because you'll have a tune-up game to get cleaned up, and you'll have Nealon behind you, which makes me feel good about playing a cleaner game that week against Florida. And it just has to be it because it's with Florida, it's beyond game preparation. It's supernatural. You have to please the college football gods somehow and Saturn has to align with Venus, and everybody has to be wearing their lucky underwear, and everything has to be exactly right. And then we can get over the exercise the demon, and everything has to be right.
I agree, but I'm going to disagree in the sense of we finally have a staff that will call a game to win rather than not to lose. I'll just leave it at that.
I agree.
No, and that's nice. And I can tell you how long it's went back to a staff playing to keep their job rather than playing to play Tennessee football.
Yeah.
And it's a lot longer than people think. We'll just say that. I'll just be honest.
I mean, that's a hazard.
That's my issue. Is I'm a high risk, high reward guy. I can't help it.
Yeah,
right? I have confidence. Dude, little small story real quick. High school team that I'm OC for. We're going to win the game. They have no timeouts. We're up by 7, ice in the game. It's 4th and 4. They know we're running the ball. So I say, screw it. Motion out, go empty set, and throw it. We score a touchdown, ice the game. I'm an all-in guy, right? But the players had to make the play. That's just the reality. They got to make the play. So they got to have trust that I trust them. Our players in Knoxville have the trust that the coaches trust them. Otherwise, you wouldn't see as many deep balls as we freaking throw. That's just point blank. You would not see as many deep balls and goes and posts as we throw. And, instead of trying to pin them deep, kind of going for it in a risky territory. So that's my thing is I understand what you're saying. It always seems like things have to align. I just think we finally have a staff that says, screw all the dumb stuff. We're going to go play ball, and we're going to play it our way no matter what.
Man, I hope so. Because there just has to be that turning point. I've said it to Zach a lot on the Big Orange podcast, Mondays at 4 p.m. live stream. I've just said it to him a lot. You look at Tennessee and Kentucky in basketball. Never in a million years did I think that Rick Barnes would win, like 4 times in Rupp Arena. We beat Kentucky more than we lose to them. You beat them on the way to an SEC championship this year. You can turn that corner against a team that has your number. You can do 100%. It.
It's about having the right staff and about having the right coach and trust with your players. And like I was saying, I think we do. And that is not just words. I genuinely feel that, and I mean that. And I could be wrong, but that doesn't mean I don't believe it wholeheartedly, right? Like, it just looks like they genuinely want to play for him and each other, and the coaches care about them rather than just, oh, hey, we won. All right, cool, high five and leave. He's out here running and hugging dudes.
Yeah, you could see it after the game.
He wants them to be successful. That's why I think that it doesn't have to be like you say, because I completely understand what you're saying about the stars aligning. It's always felt that way in the past. Because we've not had a staff that says we're going to dictate to them, not let things dictate to us.
And it can turn so quickly. I mean, it did with Kentucky. With Kentucky in basketball, you know, we won in Rupp twice, and then all of a sudden you stop having that feeling of like, oh, we're playing in Rupp, just write down an L. You know, you stop having that feeling almost immediately because you've seen it, and you go like, okay, well, I know that we can win in the Swamp. I know that we can beat Florida at home. I know whatever. Let's just take this. This
is you're right here, prime example. Kentucky is going in to score to make it 16-14. When has Kentucky ever played with Florida before last year? Ever.
Yeah.
And if they could mess around and pull this off for back-to-back years, probably, and I don't know the stats for sure, but probably the first time ever. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what I'm getting is you're right. Like, it takes that moment, and I think we have the staff to do that. And that's what, man, as much as my sleep doesn't want it, a 7:00 game. God, I hope it's a 7:00 game. Go fans. If you partake, go partake. If you don't, just go get loud. You know what I'm saying? And make it like, and that's why like Death Valley and LSU, it's so crazy. Like, man, they play 7:00 games and everybody goes and does their thing down in Louisiana, and it gets rowdy. That's what we do in Knoxville for the night game. So
yeah,
I want it to be so freaking because I'm gonna tell you, this dude, he's a great quarterback and a great athlete. I don't know if he will have ever played in a place like crazy, wild, rowdy Neyland.
If Tennessee could pull that off and can win that game, there will be whiskey flowing on this show. I can tell you that much. So
there will be no glass. It'll be out of the bottle.
It'll just taking pulls out of the bottle, straight out of the bottle. I mean, I did when Tennessee, I was living in the middle of downtown Knoxville last time Tennessee beat Florida in 16, and I just sat in my window and yelled at people on the street where I was just like, "Go Vols, baby!" Just as people walked by.
Who is this crazy guy?
Is he going to throw something on us? What's he doing?
Oh my God, this dude's nuts. But that's what it's about. Like, that's what makes Tennessee, right? And I've been vocal about it in the past about my time there and how obviously it wasn't necessarily the most fun. Crap, I'll be nice about it. Happens, right? But the reality is I'm a grown-ass man. If somebody wants to say something, you can say it to my face. I'm cool with that. Just don't hide behind your username, right? I literally love Tennessee. It took me so long to actually want to say that again. I'll be honest with you. Dude, when Neyland is rocking, I don't care. It's the reason why I committed as a freaking 16-year-old. There's nothing like it. I don't care what anybody says. I fell asleep in a freaking recruiting game at Georgia against South Carolina. Nobody wants to go play in freaking Sanford Stadium, right? Tennessee's different in such a good way. That's why I think Hypo understands that. I do. I think Danny White understands that.
I hope so.
I hope it comes down to it, and I hope our guy gets bragging rights over his brother down at Florida with because he's the basketball coach.
Please. Well, not anymore.
I hope he gets bragging rights because he's
the basketball coach at he's the basketball coach at Georgia now. Actually.
Oh, is he?
He left and went to Georgia for whatever reason.
I just wanted to call him a traitor for no reason.
He can go stink there. I would love to get revenge on White's brother with Georgia too. Let's just say that. All right.
And, by the way, I don't know. Lou Man 007. I didn't say anybody lived in a basement. I don't. Were you talking? To me?
Is that an admission? Lou Man coming out.
I'm asking that Junior. Were you talking to me? Because I didn't say anybody living in a basement. Like I don't know. Like I haven't scrolled up to see if you were talking to anybody, but
if I was a Vandy fan, I'd be mad too. But here's my my peace offering to Lou Man there. The Titans play tomorrow, and I don't know if I'm excited about that or horrified. I guess we'll see how they play. But
I love that he called me a not intelligent. You not. Well, obviously, you're not an intelligent person either to be a Vandy fan. That doesn't say much about you, bud.
I'm gonna guess Lou Man didn't. I'm gonna guess Lou Man didn't go to Vandy.
I'm pretty sure you didn't, or if you did, you made it like a day and they kicked you out.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good.
It's okay.
There's no hate here.
If you went to Vols State or you went to wherever MTSU, that's all right.
It's all good.
You know. But like I said to Lou Man, tighten up, and we can high five over that. So, that's it. Charlie Burris, Jonathan Crompton, Tennessee 34, Pittsburgh 27. Victory is ours tonight. And now, I'm gonna go get the aforementioned whiskey. Have a good Saturday, and we'll reconvene during the Akron game, and we'll do this all again. Halftime, post game, the Akron game, and then on Monday at 4 p.m. myself, A to Z sports writer Zach Reagan, we will have the Big Orange podcast live streaming then. And thanks to everybody for watching. This huge crowd tonight. We love you. We couldn't do it without you. We appreciate it. And if that's it for you, Crump, we'll talk to everybody next week.
Go scream out the window, Charlie.
I'm going to go do it right now. We'll see y'all later.